Are the new main six descendants of the old main six? Hello, Mystery Pony Fiction here, and I decided I'd have a shot at MLP related video essay. Seems all the popular channels are doing it, and I'm not afraid to blatantly admit I want fame to bring attention to the other stuff I make, like PMVs and audiobooks of fiction. But this is something different, and I hope it's passably entertaining. I think the topic of whether or not the new main six are descended from the main six of the previous generation is probably a pretty obvious question that might come to mind after watching the A New Generation movie, after having been a dedicated brony since the break between season 1 and 2. I'm kind of assuming it's already been discussed in the community, but in order to be able to give my own uninfluenced opinion, I haven't watched anything about it. I wanted to come to my own conclusion. First of all, I want to talk about the pony, who is, without a doubt, the best pony, and if you disagree, you are just objectively wrong. Sorry, but sometimes the truth can be a difficult thing to come to terms with about yourself. That is, of course, Izzy Moonbow, who I believe is descended from Pinkie Pie. They both have very similar upbringings in how they both grew up in a drab, depressing place where fun was not allowed or frowned upon, with Pinkie having grown up on a rock farm and Izzy in the superstitious, depressing town of Bridlewood, which I'm thinking is probably set in a part of the Everfree Forest that probably became settled by the unicorns that were cast out into exile, or however the first seed of racism started. Now, it is clear that Izzy does not fit in with the rest of the residents of Bridlewood. She is just too friendly and is too much into having fun and socialising and doesn't let the superstitions that the rest of the ponies believe scare her. She just believes in having a good attitude, and I think a good comparison would be the Giggle at the Ghosties song, where Pinkie is basically telling fear to go vanish itself. She basically has set up her whole home to be ready for a party, despite not having any pony who wants to party with her. Again, despite this, she's created all kinds of contraptions designed for ponies to have fun with. If only she could ever find some pony that would want to play with her and her homemade toys. Then, of course, she meets the first pony who does like fun she's ever met, and things kick off from there, and she is overjoyed, and then Izzy and Sunny become lesbian lovers and... oh wait, that's my headcanon. They would never actually kiss on a kids show / movie. No way. Next we will go with Twilight Sparkle's descendant, which is Sunny Starscout. Not really a surprise there, it's pretty clear why. She is first of all a big nerd. She loves reading and making up her own fanfiction about all the ponies of legend who had the cool superpowers of magic and flight. She has figurines of the main six and treats them like her friends, that she goes on adventures with, and her bedroom looks like that of what a bronies would look like IRL. Then of course she is willing to be friends with anyone, which captures the heart of Twilight Sparkle, or at least what Twilight had learned. I think that while Twilight had started out as an awkward nerd who didn't have many friends, she always had it in her, but she was a bit arrogant of herself and had to learn that other ponies, with their lack of book smarts, still had their own things to contribute to a group of friends, and that even she could learn awesome things from Rainbow Dash, who saw reading as a nerd thing. But back to Sunny, we don't really know much about who her friends are in Maretime Bay yet, other than that her and Hitch and Sprout would hang out, and that she was willing to befriend even those who thought she was wrong or stupid. Which was every pony, but she didn't let that stop her from wanting to teach every pony else that she knew what was the right way to treat other ponies, regardless. So she is book smart, but in more of a knowledge of history kind of way, rather than science necessarily. The next pony, of course, is Hitch, Trailblazer, who is the descendant from Fluttershy, of course. I mean, he has it just ingrained in such a nice and kind temperament that the cute and cuddly creatures of the world adore him. Then as a sheriff, he is kind, courteous, and willing to hear ponies air their grievances out, even if he thinks they are a bit deluded, such as Sunny wanting to be friends with every pony, and Sprout being an annoyingly lazy deputy. But instead of really bringing any of these faults in his mind to the attention of them, he just extends a hoof in kindness and will always listen. Now the other part that Hitch isn't really like Fluttershy is in the fact that he isn't shy, but I think that can be explained by the development that Fluttershy had in the course of the show, of learning how to not assume that every other pony was judging her or thinking her social anxiety was making her look silly and feel ashamed of herself. I think that Hitch is probably what has happened as her descendants became more and more able to deal with their social fears and be left in the end with both an above average level of confidence and social charm. Enough confidence, in fact, to become a very important symbol of safety to the entire town as a sheriff, who, like how Fluttershy created a sanctuary and place of safety for critters, he has expanded his kindness superpowers to the level of every pony liking him. Well, except maybe Sprout, who is kind of jealous of his popularity, but we will get to that. Now we will move on to Pip Petals, and I doubt it's going to be a shock that I've picked Rarity as her descendant, as she is very self-conscious about her image, and she is clearly the creative of the crew. Reminds me a lot of how I used to hate Rarity as a character for the first half of Season 1 of MLP FIM, until I saw Suited for Success and A Dog and Pony Show, which gave me an aha moment to make me realise that Rarity was actually the most similar to myself, and she became the second best pony out of the G4-6 to me since then. I see this again with Pip. She is an entertainer and she loves to show off what she sees that she thinks will be good content for her fans, and she is basically equivalent to the creative YouTuber of today. She is lucky enough to have had it become her career. While some part of both characters seem vain and trivial to me, it's just that their interests happen to be fashion as a visual art and video blogging as a visual art. I think if I'd have watched this G5 movie before having learned the lesson from G4 not to judge Rarity based on how her personality seems on the surface, I would probably have also hated Pip's character at first. But I really get it now. I get that she's more similar to how my brain works when it comes to being a creative person than it does with what topics in particular they express that creativity with. I suppose I ended up using this segment as an opportunity to be vain about myself. See, told you me, Pip, and Rarity are similar, and don't correct me by telling me to say Pip, Rarity, and I. Nothing annoys me more than people telling me what correct polite language is. I'm an individual. Next we come to Zip Storm. Now I will admit something about this character. She was the one I did not like from the moment I saw her first revealed in the teasers for the movie. I just kept thinking she looks like a tooth with toothpaste on it. Then even more I found that her personality seemed to be the most flat out of all of them. She seemed to just speak frankly and not really have all that much personality to her. And then I thought about it some more and I realised she's descended from Applejack. But this is in no way a bad thing. From what I can gather, whether she just didn't get much chance to show much about herself in the course of the movie, with so much of the first half focused on Sunny and Izzy, she just kinda became a background pony. Haha, just kidding. What I mean is that she is meant to be the dependable straight man or straight girl of the group. The fact that she is the one who is not satisfied and is kind of annoyed with being involved with a royal life, I think shows that she has been craving to just be honest and stop lying about being a normal flightless Pegasus like every pony else. And when she saw the opportunity to escape from the lie, she was eager to take it. Not to mention that she is the most physically impressive as an athlete of all of them. No doubt her ancestors were hard workers and they took joy in being hard workers. Zip is the kind of character that I'm going to expect the kind of sarcastic one-liners that Applejack had about every pony slowing down to think rationally for a moment. I'm not sure if she had all that much in this movie. She was unfortunately kind of the most forgettable of the five. But I think she's building up to being the solid straight rock of the group. So wait, there's one more, right? Because there's only 5 main characters in the G5 movie. Nah man, we can't possibly forget Sprout, who, when I found out that he was played by Ken Jeong,
Gay!
I realised he was the only actor I knew well by name, other than Jason Thiessen, but only because he was a writer of G4. So obviously the only one left to fit Sprout with is Rainbow Dash, and I think it fits well. I mean, I think Rainbow Dash was always still the most flawed character in G4. In fact, Rainbow Dash reminds me of how much my former best friend from my teens to early adulthood would piss me off with his competitive nature and his need to constantly gloat about how much better than me he was at everything, mainly involving skill at video games. I mean, you can watch him get jealous and kind of infuriated at how he can't match up to Hitch in terms of basically most positive personality traits. Then you can see him get carried away with his desire to prove himself as awesome and make his mummy proud and be better than every other pony at everything, to the point of thinking he deserves to be the leader of the Emperor of Maretime Bay. Let's not forget that Rainbow Dash gets carried away when her ego is on the line, to the unintended detriment of others. The big difference, of course, between Sprout and Rainbow Dash, though, is that Sprout is actually not really good at anything, largely because he's too lazy and doesn't want to put in the work to be a good sheriff or pony in general, and he has a mother that constantly coddles him and never lets him know when he's being a bit of a douche. Maybe there is a possibility that once Rainbow Dash's ancestors reach the top after rightfully earning it, they might have let their ego get the better of them and start thinking that they deserve to be praised just for the fact that they think they are awesome and for no other reason. Now don't get me wrong, I think a flawed character that has a lot to improve on is going to be comedy gold, just like it was for Rainbow Dash in G4. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope it can be the first of what might be a series if G5 does continue on as a regular show. I kind of wish I did something akin to episode reviews back in the day, but I was shy on the microphone then. Now with all this practice voicing fanfiction, I think my confidence has grown enough. Please like, subscribe and comment about your own ideas about the new main 6 and their link to the old main 6.
Okay guys, I love you lots, gotta go. Pip pip hooray!
Thank you, my mystery bros.
Big shout out to all my fans, the Pipsqueaks!